Hello, this is Rumon. Today I will share my story, the story of a person affected by leprosy.
My name is Rumon. I live in a remote tea garden called Champarai Tea Garden in Sylhet, Bangladesh. After my mother died, I started working as a tea worker for contribute in my family. Back then, I was very young. Every day, I picked tea leaves. If I collect 23 kilos, I get only $1.5 per day. The work is very hard. My body hurts a lot, but I work for my family. Here you can see my son. He was very dear to me. Last April, he got pneumonia and measles and died. A few days after that, a big storm completely destroyed my house. Now I am living at my in law's house. Life is very difficult for me. A few years ago, I found out I had leprosy. That time was even harder. A few years ago, some health workers from an NGO came to our area for a survey. They were looking for people who had patches on their skin with no sensation. I had several such numb spots on my feet for a long time. When the team arrived, I showed them my feet. After examining me carefully, they told me I had leprosy. At first, I was very scared, my mind filled with worry. But the health workers calmly explained that leprosy is just like any other common disease. It is completely treatable if you take medicine on time. Their kind words helped me relax. The fear slowly left my mind. I started taking the medicines regularly and I felt much better knowing that everything would be fine. However, the real problem started after that. When the news that I had leprosy spread in my area, everything changed. People began to look at me differently. The people I used to work with refused to work with me anymore. They were afraid they would catch leprosy from me. I had no savings at all. I was living hand to mouth. Because of this, I broke down completely financially. There were many days when I could only eat one meal. But the biggest shock came when my own brothers and sisters started avoiding me. One day, they even asked me to leave the house. That was the hardest and most painful time of my entire life. After that, the shame and humiliation became too much to bear. I left my home. A kind hearted man took pity on me and gave me shelter in an old abandoned room of his house. Even with a roof over my head, those days were still full of pain. The man's wife would often speak right in front of me, complaining to her husband, "Why did you bring him here? What if our children catch leprosy from him?" Every time I heard those words, I felt like crying my heart out. If I ever went to the tea shop, people would see me and immediately stand up and leave. The shopkeeper would get angry and scold me. He told me not to come there anymore. I tried to explain my situation to government officers and NGO workers. They genuinely tried to help, but in our tea gardens and remote parts of Bangladesh, the stigma was so strong that their efforts were not enough. During those dark days, the thought of suicide came to my mind again and again. I used to think, it is better to die than to live like this. But I did not give up. Even in my darkest days, I refused to surrender. I did not take my own life. I did not walk down the wrong path. Instead, I completed every dose of my medicine, and after a while, with the kind support of the manager of our tea garden, I was able to return to my job. The stigma, however, has not completely disappeared. Even now, many people still look at me with unnecessary fear. In my area, they call me Kushto Rogi Rumon, means Ruman the leper. Those words hurt deeply. Yet, I can say with gratitude that my life is much better today than it was before. But for so many others who suffer from leprosy in my community, life remains incredibly difficult, especially for the women. No one wants to marry a girl who has had leprosy. Because of this fear, when a girl is diagnosed, her family often hides the disease and avoids proper treatment. They worry that if people find out, she will never get married. As a result, the disease goes untreated. Girls become disabled. The infection continues to spread. In our area, leprosy is not seen as an ordinary illness that can be cured with medicine. Instead, people treat it like a curse. When I see the silent pain of these leprosy affected people, especially the women, my heart breaks. Their unspoken suffering often brings tears to my eyes.